another breaking input that we're getting from Bangladesh is that the Dhaka court has now accepted the murder case against Sheikh Hasina. Hasina, remember viewers, has been now charged with the murder of a grocery shop owner. And now the court in Dhaka has accepted the charges against Sheikh Hasina. Court orders police to record an FIR against Sheikh Hasina, and the arrest warrant is all set to be issued against Sheikh Hasina, who's of course no more in Bangladesh now. She fled and she landed in the national capital of India after her government was toppled. But now she has been booked in a murder case of murder of a grocery shop owner. And the court in Dhaka has now accepted the case, ordered the police to record an FIR, and also an arrest warrant will be issued against Sheikh Hasina. So all this happening, as we were just telling you, the judicial rejig that has been happening in Bangladesh. And in fact, my colleague Krutarth is joining us live from the newsroom. Krutarth, what do we make of this news that is coming in? A murder case against Sheikh Hasina, who has fled the country, and an arrest warrant will also be now issued against her for a murder of a grocery shop owner.
Good evening, Rakshita, and yes, that is right. This is possibly one of the first of the many cases that can come on Sheikh Hasina's way. And let me tell our viewers the specifics of this case and why exactly Sheikh Hasina has been now charged with murder. This murder case is about a shop owner named Abu Saeed, who belonged to the Mohammadpur area of Bangladesh, who was shot dead allegedly by police on July 19th during the protests. Now, the charge against Sheikh Hasina is that she was the one who ordered the police to open indiscriminate fire on the protesters when the peak of the students' movement was going on in July 19th in Dhaka, in Bangladesh, and around this time the shopkeeper lost his life. Now, along with Sheikh Hasina, 6 other senior members of the government have also been charged. Let me read out the names, Rakshita, for you and our viewers. Awami League General Secretary Abdul Qadir, former Home Minister Asaduzman Khan Kamal, former Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamoon, former DMP Commissioner Habibur Rahman, and many others. So you see, it is the Home Ministry, the senior police administration and apparatus under Sheikh Hasina, as well as the Prime Minister herself, who has now been named and booked under the section 302 of the Bangladesh Penal Code. And now these people will set charge in the court for the murder of the shopkeeper from Mohammadpur. These are the inputs that we are picking up from Bangladesh, Rakshita.
Absolutely. In fact, stay with us, Krutarth. We're getting in visuals of some more protests that have erupted in Dhaka. As we speak, there are visuals right now coming in from Dhaka where students are holding a protest at the Shaheed Minar in Dhaka. Remember, this is the central Shaheed Minar, viewers. It's a national monument of Bangladesh that is established to commemorate those killed during the Bengali language movement demonstrations. And now, viewers, you can see the unrest continues. There's no end to it. Krutarth, we can see students are continuing to hold protests and demonstrations in Dhaka.
Rakshita, and the protests have been continuing on in Bangladesh. We have seen that in the last few days, the student protests have not ended, and today as well, we have seen dramatic visuals coming in from Dhaka, the national capital, from critical infrastructure and from critical monuments where Bangladeshi students are continuing the protests. Their demand are uncertain at the moment as to they have now succeeded in ousting the Prime Minister. They have in fact even succeeded in ousting the Chief Justice of the Bangladesh Supreme Court. But now they are still standing on the streets, and this time it is even more surprising that even Palestinian flags were spotted when crowds were gathering, and these students are now even showing solidarity somewhat with the Palestinian cause. So it is very difficult to ascertain the nature of these student protests. We have been reporting on this since last week on how the entire student protest took a very different and divergent turn. We also saw how anti-Hindu and anti-minority protests and violence also started taking shape in the entire country of Bangladesh. And today now we are seeing more visuals of students continuing to protest with some new demands perhaps, and even Palestinian flags cropping up, which shows you that the diverse nature of the student-led protest, or the protesters protesting on the streets in the garb of the student movement, and shows that there are various different factions even within the students' front which are putting up different demands every day. And the entire focus will now be on the Muhammad Yunus-led interim government, which is step by step paying heed to the demands of this mob rule that has descended onto the streets of Bangladesh, which is extremely concerning. As we rightly saw, first it was the ouster of the Prime Minister, then it was the ouster of the Chief Justice. We saw police that had evacuated the streets and had left the minority community to their own peril which is now slowly returning after Muhammad Yunus has had chat with minority community leaders and Hindu leaders throughout the day today and has assured their protection. But once again, students are onto the streets and all eyes will be in Dhaka on what these new demands will bring to the fore.